I was skeptical when I first played Kiwami since the dialogue was gonna be all Japanese and for English viewers only subtitles were on. I was just thinking it was gonna be another game I won't get invested in. But boy was I wrong. Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the original 2005 game and is one of the best video game remakes I have ever played. It is kind of a sequel to Yakuza 0, even though Yakuza 0 came out 11 years after the original. It's pretty complicated. And after spending holy frick 30 hours on this game, I need to touch some grass. It has become my second favorite game of all time, right behind Marvel's Spider-Man. So I'll tell you about everything I love about Yakuza Kiwami and try to convince you to play it with this mediocre review. First of all, let's talk about the story. The story starts out with Kazuma Kiryu, the main character, taking blame for his brother Nishiki when he murdered his boss. As of that, he is falsely imprisoned for 10 years, and when he comes back, he learns that 10 billion yen has been stolen from the Tojo clan, making the whole Japanese underworld into jeopardy. In the story, you'll also encounter different characters, like Date-san, which is a detective also investigating the stolen yen, Haruka, a little girl, who's trying to find her mother, which might be loosely connected to the stolen money, and Goro Majima, which you can banter with throughout the game. The story is one of the great things that make the game glue together. It's amazingly put together by the writers, and they really did a good job making the serious and emotional moments. And of course, the funny moments. Nishiki is an amazing villain, and his guilt after murdering the boss in cold blood while Kiryu's in prison for him paves the way for pulling him to the dark side. And no, that wasn't a Star Wars reference. And when Nishiki's sister needs a heart transplant and needs 30 mil to save her, he vows he'll do anything it takes, and this is what crafts him into the perfect villain. The story is an amazing part of the game, and still carries the original story from the original game in 2005, while adding some new elements to further flesh out the story. We can't talk about Yakuza without mentioning the sub-stories or side quests. These side quests are one of the most iconic features in the Yakuza series, and I certainly agree. First of all, these side quests are not like the other games where there's like a marker on the map of where it is, or some kind of quest thing above a person's head. You just encounter it. Literally, whether you're walking on the streets or going to an objective, you stumble upon different hilarious side quests with the people of Kamurocho asking for Kiryu's help. These depend on time of day or how many sub-stories you have completed, and it's almost impossible to miss any, because they just appear out of nowhere, and the side quests are quirky and hilarious, whether it's just getting interviewed by a newscaster, someone asking to be a mentor, or literally getting a guy tissues because he doesn't have any in the bathroom. No, I'm serious. You think I'm joking? No, I'm actually serious. These quests are full of silly antics, and there are 78 side quests in the game to encounter and keep you busy. One of the greatest things about Yakuza Kiwami's gameplay is the combat. There are 4 different combat styles you can switch in battle, which are Rush, which increases your speed and mobility while sacrificing damage, Beast, which is slow and heavy but packs a punch but its mobility is extremely slow, Brawler, my main one, which combines speed, mobility, and damage for a balanced playstyle, and the Dragon Cell, the main style of the game that starts off weak but when you farm Majima everywhere counters, more on that later, and Komaki training classes, also more on that later, it becomes a force to be reckoned with. There's also a heat gouge when you fill it up, you can use some kind of special attack. There's a Kiwami move which you can use when the stronger enemy heals to do an abundance of damage, and Heat Boost which you can use in different scenarios like dodging perfectly or just grabbing items and smashing them on their heads like there's no tomorrow. There's also a skill tree which skills can be bought by experience points by just playing the game. EA, if you're watching this, take notes. These skills can be increasing health, heat bar, make battle styles stronger, or new moves. There are also items you can use to regenerate your health or regenerate your heat gouge in battle. You can buy these at stores with your yen you earn from completing side quests and just fighting people. There are also special combat items like katanas and special items to boost attack power, or side quest finder, which detects sub-stories. One of the things about the combat is the dependence on health and heat items. It relies solely on those items, and it's almost impossible to win a boss fight without them. And that brings me to my next point, boss fights. This is the thing that holds me back from ever giving this game a perfect 10 out of 10. And holy frick, these bosses are the most annoying thing I have ever encountered in a video game. Period. First of all, most bosses in video game have a bar of health, and when you deplete it, that's basically it. In Yakuza Kiwami, when you deplete a boss's health bar, they either heal up, which depletes all of the work you've ever done to dodge his attacks, and after that, on his main bar of health, you have another bar of health, and then another bar of health, and he's gonna keep healing and healing, and the final boss has 6 bars of health. For frick's sake. And sure, when they're healing, you can use Kiwami moves, but I don't see the point of why the healing mechanics for bosses in the game even exist in the first place. And the bosses don't help at all with half of them moving like Jackie Chan if he was cast as the Flash. Like what the frick? You need your whole inventory with for healing items just to complete a boss fight. Let me take a good break from ranting and talk about the open world. The open world is great and small. You're probably like, this is an open world and there's fast travel. What is this 24/7? Yeah, it's an open world, even though it's small and compact. But there are a lot of things to do. The open world is set in Kamurocho, Japan, and is a vibrant neon place home to clans, clubs, and a bunch of stores to shop at. There are a bunch of stores around the city, like convenience stores and restaurants. You can buy stuff with yen, which you can get 100k yen at the start of the game, more than I'll ever have. You can earn yen by playing the game and completing side quests. Food in the restaurants are in large varieties, like sushi, ramen, beef bowls, and a bunch of Japanese dishes. And when you eat it, it can also restore your health. You can buy all of your health items in the shop, and there's also an abundance of mini games to play around with, which probably contributes to 25% of my playtime. There's baseball, darts, bowling, pocket racing, fighting at the arena, gambling at the casino, and mahjong. Did I miss any? And you can also encounter smaller enemies while you're walking on the streets, and it does get a bit quite repetitive when you spend 30 hours on the game. The open world is regardless beautiful at night with neon lights, and the bustling people on the streets makes the city feel alive and immersive. And it's probably the reason I spent 30 hours on this game. And like I mentioned previously, there's also Majima everywhere. Basically, Go Majima, a friend of Kuryu, always wanted to fight with Kuryu and always wanted to try to defeat him. You have a rank counter which goes all the way to SS, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the rank increases when you encounter Majima in different silly parts of the city. When your rank increases, you learn new dragon style abilities. You could be acting as a restaurant employee or encountering him at the Pocket Car Stadium. There are also random encounters when you're walking through the streets of Kamurocho. You would do anything, and I mean anything, to get Kuryu to fight him. So basically, Majima Everywhere is like a side quest, basically. Majima is easily one of the funniest characters in the game, but sadly, it's kinda glitched for me. And Majima couldn't show up anymore. And I'm at rank E for Majima Everywhere, and if anyone knows a fix, please tell me. I completed the whole game, and Majima's just sitting there, no emails from Nishida, just smoking at Boyatoy Port. Uh, put an F in the chat for Majima. But there's also Komaki training, where Komaki, a former fighter, trains you, and you can also learn new dragon style abilities from him. Each time you show up for a new training session, you need a requirement for like fighting in the arena, or just obtaining a certain item. Whether it's Majima or Komaki, they'll both give you dragon style abilities to learn wherever you fight with Majima or train with Komaki. Currently, it's the only way to get any dragon style abilities. Majima is the funniest character in the game, and Komaki is just a strict sensei, but is a great character in the game too. This game is one of the most funniest and quirky games I've ever played, and I'm really stoked to buy Yakuza Kiwami 2 this week. And that's for it for Yakuza Kiwami. This video is way longer than I expected. I spent like hours writing scripts, spent hours editing this. So if you can please hit the subscribe button, it would really help the channel. Alright lads, I'll see you in the next mediocre video. God damn, I nailed those Japanese names.